So let's start looking at some past exam questions. So this one's from the 2018 Exam 1. So multiple choice, this is a question 7. So remember that means it's going to be one of the more difficult ones. A study of antelope population in a wildlife park has shown that the antelope regularly move between 3 locations, east, north and west, so ENW. Let AN be the state matrix that shows the population of antelope in each location n months after the study began. The expected population in each location can be determined by the matrix recurrence rule. So there it is there, where we've got our transition matrix this month, next month. So just to recap, so 0.3 or 30% of the antelope that were in the east are going to move to the north next month. 0.6 or 60% of the antelope that were north are going to stay north, are going to be north next month. Okay, and D. Now we've got a minus there, so that means they're coming out of the system for whatever reason. The state matrix A3 below shows the population of the antelope 3 months after the study began. So we've got A3 here. The number of antelope in the west location 2 months after the study began, as found in state matrix A2, is closest to. Alright, so we know state matrix A3. We know it 3 months after. We need to figure out 2 months after. So we need to do a bit of going backwards. So let's set this up a bit as an equation first. So we know n+1 equals TAN minus D. All right. So we know A3 is equal to T times by A2 minus D. All right. We know what that is. We know what that is. We know what that is. We need to figure out what A2 is. Okay. So let's do a little bit of manipulation to see if we can start to get there. Right, so I'm going to add D to both sides. So A3 plus D equals TA2. Alrighty, so I know what A3 is. I know what D is. I'll get up my calculator. Okay, so let's pop in. Right, I'll put in A3, so that's 3 rows and 1 column. Okay, so 16, 2800, 2134. Okay, plus our D. So again, 3 rows, 1 column, and D is 50, 50, 50. Okay, so that means that A3 plus D, which is what we've just done here, is 1666, 2850, 2184. So that means that's what T times by A2 is equal to. Okay, now again, we know that we did that addition to give us that. We know what that transition matrix is. We want to figure out A2, don't we? Because that will then give us how many antelope were in the west then. So how do we get A2 on its own? How do we get A2 on its own? Well, we're going to do a bit of our matrix algebra. So I'm going to need the inverse of our transition matrix. Now, do you remember why I'm putting this on the left? That's because T is on the left-hand side of our A2, so this has got to be on the left of that, and same on the other side of the equation. So, running out of room here, but we'll make do. So first off, let's put in our transition matrix, which is a 3 by 3, 0.4, 0.2, 0.6, 0.3, 0.3, 0.2, 0.5. Okay, so I might store that just in case. Alright, so remember our inverse, T to the -1, and I have to times that by our A3 times A3 plus D, which was that one. Okay, so that gives us our A2. 30, 2810, 2270 equals A2. Okay. So now we're looking for the number of antelope which was in the west, which is going to be the bottom one. So 2270 should be E. And yes, we're correct. So 28% of the state answered correctly. 21% answered A, 20% answered D, and 16% answered C, 14% answered B. I think there was a bit of guessing there, judging by those numbers. So in the examiner's report, they go through pretty much what I've done here. So here you really had to understand what was happening with our recursion and our step-by-step and how to work backwards. Understanding that, okay, if we know A3 and our transition diagram and D, we can work backwards to figure out what A2 is.